Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be no effort means no interest. So I've got two emails. The first one is from a guy. He divorced his wife in 2005 after he caught her cheating on him with another guy. He had a private investigator and everything, and so he ended up getting full custody of his son. His wife later married that particular guy. But, she had a couple more kids with that guy that she married, who she was cheating on him with. And now that she's separated from this other guy, they've been spending a lot of time together, and he says that their two daughters have become like daughters to him. And so they've been spending a bunch of time together, and he told her, he vomited his feelings and said that his feelings are back for her, and he wants something romantic, but he's kind of ignoring that it's not going anywhere. So he wonders what he can do. And then the second email is from a guy who he was at a beach house, like a beach house party with some mutual friends, met this girl, they hooked up, tried to set a date afterwards. No dice. He said their schedules didn't jive. And then they got back together again, I guess a few weeks later, a month or so later, at the same group of friends. They hooked up again. Afterwards, he tried to set a date, and this time she just ghosted him. So he's like, what the hell? So I got a quote that I wrote on this particular topic, and we'll go through their emails. So the quote says, when it comes to romantic relationships, effort means interest, and no effort means no interest. Too many people project their high interest onto romantic prospects that do not reciprocate any or the same level of attention and interest. People who don't believe they are worthy of love will keep trying when the other person is not. People who love and value themselves will simply move on to continue searching for and will not settle until they find someone who matches and mirrors their effort and interest. Never try to keep someone who doesn't want to keep you. But you're gonna see, it's just going through this, like, people just project their fantasy and they just completely ignore reality of what's going on. So he says, hi Corey, this is the first guy's email, the one that was divorced. He says, I'm in a pretty screwed up situation with my ex-wife and I'd like your thoughts. We divorced in 2005, went through a pretty tough custody battle over my son. She cheated on me, and I hired a private investigator who caught her on video. Damn. Long story short, I was awarded custody. And I know there's some states where if somebody cheats, then that's kind of the consequences of it. I don't know which states in particular. I'm sure you guys will post it in the comments, but it's pretty interesting. In the years since, we've become friends again. She remarried with the guy that she cheated on me with and had a couple of kids. She has since separated from him 7 years now, but they are still legally married. So she's been separated for seven years. Interesting. She and I have been spending a lot of time together since March, but with virtually no intimacy, even though we've spent the night together 4 times. No sex, no kissing. I told her my feelings were back, and I didn't want to be only friends. But she says I hurt her, and she was still holding animosity towards me about taking our son from her. I love her, but this has turned into a train wreck again. I want to work it out, but she only wants me to be around as a friend, and her girls want me there because we're all very close. They're like daughters to me. I have a strong feeling what you're going to say, but I'd like to hear it. Well, here's what I got to say, my friend. Are you ready? She belongs to the streets. It's like, come on, dude. Seriously. You got burned once? You think she's like undergone some kind of metamorphosis and she's a person with integrity now? Plus, on top of that, you're hanging out and it's going nowhere. She likes the attention and validation, I'm sure. She probably likes the fact that you're being a stepdad to her kids with another guy. But the reality is she's making no effort. You have this completely flipped around. If there was ever going to be a chance, and I personally would never give a woman like this a chance again. She burned you once, she'll do it again. What's the reason why she's been separated from her second husband for 7 years? Probably because she's screwing around. It's like, come on, man. Have some self-respect. What do you It'll end up in the same place that it ended up before. She doesn't value loyalty, monogamy, exclusivity. If she was coming on to you and you wanted to hook up, great. But she ain't girlfriend or wife material. It's like, come on, dude. That is just delusional. If I were you, I would remove myself from the equation and be hanging out and dating other women that actually like you and actually make the effort. You're just making yourself look like a chump. And quite frankly, all it's doing is causing her to lose even more respect for you as a man. Because quite frankly, you ain't acting like a man. It's not attractive, dude. She belongs to the streets, centered on down the road. Like I said, she came on to you, even if you hooked up with her, but I would never get in a relationship with a woman like that. And she's still married to somebody else. It's like, think about it. You're like in a love triangle with your ex-wife. And who knows, well, she's probably screwing somebody else anyways. Anyway, so let's go on to the next email. He says, "Hi, Corey. I would like to ask how you're doing, but I already know the answer." Well, glad we got that out of the way. "I hooked up with a girl twice and am now currently getting ghosted. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the situation. I met this girl in a mutual friend's beach house one weekend at the shore back in June. Thanks to your work," obviously 3% man he's talking about, "which you're supposed to read 10 to 15 times so you don't have to think about it. It just becomes instinctual." Obviously he's not. "I was able to progress things with her throughout the night. After only a few minutes of arriving, I could feel her attraction towards me through small cues like prolonged eye contact. After a day at the beach and a couple of drinks," the important thing is a couple of drinks, "the tension escalated even further. She slowly started to get more comfortable getting close to me and touching me. She could tell I was about to kiss her multiple times and would shy away, laughing. She ended up in my bedroom and we had an amazing evening. It was awesome to be able to read her cues and gently progress things emotionally and physically." Well, good for you. You got your noodle wet. "After the weekend, I texted her, telling her I had a fun time with her and gently suggested that we should do that again. She seemed to react to that positively. A few weeks later, I tried making plans for her to come over, but it didn't work out logistically." Yeah, you got to pay attention. She's not making an effort, man. If she really liked you, maybe the sex was bad. Maybe you were terrible in bed. Or maybe it was just the alcohol. It does happen. People tend to lose their inhibitions and do stupid things when they're drinking, and yours truly has been guilty of that plenty of times in my youth. Had plenty of debauchery. But we won't go into that. "I didn't talk to her much after that until another weekend at the shore. We were at the same place as the first time with the same people. Things fell into place just as perfectly. Probably alcohol was involved. But the sex was even better than the first time. And the sex, we got a little affectionate. While we were cuddling, I asked her funny questions like, 'Do you think I'm a player? And does size matter?' Come on, man. This was mostly a success story up to this point, so here's the fuck up. After the trip, I texted her like I had the first time, saying how much fun I had. I got a response along the lines of, 'Haha, I had a fun time too.' I suggested that we should do it again. She didn't open my message for a few days, but obviously saw it. Probably doing it on purpose. Then didn't reply at all. Well, you weren't really direct or decisive. You said, 'We should do it again.' A man is direct. If you were familiar with 3% Man, you would have said, 'We should get together again. I'd love to see you. I'd love to see your face.' Whatever. 'When are you free? What's your schedule like? When are you open? When are you available?' Something along those lines. Being direct, decisive, making plans. Instead of, 'We should do it again,' is basically saying, 'Hey, I want you to be the man and make a date with me.' Doesn't work that way. That's the one critique I can say. But if you look at the first time after you hooked up, it doesn't sound like she really made much of an effort to get together. And the second time, She could have, if she had high interest, when you said we should do it again, she would have said, yeah, we should. Or she would have liked it at least. But she didn't do anything. Why? Because she's probably dating somebody else. You were just, hey, you were a target of opportunity, a body of opportunity, if you will. The alcohol was flowing. She was feeling good. She was feeling safe with all the friends, the mutual group of friends. Hey, it was a weekend hookup. I was very surprised after we had already hooked up twice and had started to develop some chemistry. I didn't ask her to marry me or anything. Yeah, but just based on the couple of things that you said to her, sounds like it was a cheese fest, and maybe the sex wasn't very good, and the fact that you weren't very direct and very decisive. Like I said, her interest is low, but just because a girl hooks up with you doesn't mean that she's going to be your future ex-wife or future ex-girlfriend or a wife. You got to look at what the other person is giving back to you, and she's not giving you anything. Needless to say, this situation is confusing the shit out of me. What am I doing that's turning her off? Like I said, I gave you a couple of critiques of things I personally would have done differently, but the reality is, when you said we should do that again, if she really liked you, she said, I would love to. That would be wonderful. Would have been the response you would have gotten. But when you said we should do it again, obviously the fact that she just ignored it was like she wasn't interested in doing you again. Maybe she's with somebody else. The reality is I wouldn't do anything at this point. She's not providing enough interest. And that's what you got to look at. You got to look at her actions. She's not trying to get together with you. So if you got a question or a challenge you'd like to get my help with, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.